goddamn, I need IPA.
This is Beering Ain't Easy, your podcast for beer humor, dad humor, and beer tastings from Texas and beyond. So crack one if you got one and turn it up.
Welcome to Beering Ain't Easy, Season 2, Episode 38 with Ryan and Drew.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It's been a little minute since we've been on air. We've had a few things going on. Ryan, congratulations for bringing his son into the world, the heir to the beer kingdom.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I was the last hope of carrying on the family name, and I delivered.
How's it been going though? Getting any sleep?
It's been okay. I can't complain. I was laughing. You texted me about recording, and I realized. So here's the thing, and I think all parents could probably relate to this, and I'm sure you've gone through this 3 times. You have a newborn, and any schedule that you had gets completely thrown out the window, and you try to establish this new routine, right? You're trying to figure it out. So obviously we did the same thing, and you're like, okay, I think we're starting to figure out a routine. And then you text me and I realized it's been like 5 or 6 weeks since we even like talked about recording. And it was like, oh, holy shit. It's been like 2 months. Like what happened? Where did that go?
Yeah, it's wild with the newborn, man. The time just like blinks away.
Yeah. So I'm happy to be back. I'm excited to go. Speaking of losing track of time, I am cracking a beer tonight since it's so hot. It's a fruited sour that I've had for my last beer shipment, but it was canned November 28th of 2022. So we are 7 months old. Woo. And we're going to see what happens when I crack this around my expensive computer equipment.
For the record, ladies and gentlemen, I did not allow Ryan to open it before we started recording, just in case. No explosion.
Story of our podcast, just very anticlimactic.
Just like your love life. All right.
Hey, there were 2 times. All right.
Yeah. Do you want to introduce what beer you're drinking, and then I'll do the same?
Yeah. So I'm drinking from Lua Brewing. It's called One Very Important Thought. Like I said, it's a fruited sour with strawberry, pineapple, hibiscus, and lemonade.
Oh, that's a lot going on there.
I'm very excited about this. What are you drinking, Drew?
Oh, man, I'm keeping it a lot more simple, a lot less ingredients, but it's one of my favorites. It is New Magnolia Brewing Company Dry Hopped Kolsch. German-style golden ale, generously hopped with mosaic.
Love that.
I'm going to make a really bold statement here, Ryan. This beer is in my top 5 favorite Houston beers that I'm drinking right now.
I think I've talked about this on the podcast before, but we used to live like 3 blocks from New Magnolia when they first opened. And I went very early on, was not impressed. So I didn't go back super often, but then I went back and I was like, oh, it's getting better. I mean, this is a very common thing with new breweries, figuring out how to scale your recipes. And so I was like, okay, I'll give it some time. And then, I discovered dry hopped Kolsch, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Ever since then, it's been one of my favorites. It's not always available. So whenever I do find it, I get very excited about it. So I don't think you're being hot takey by saying it's one of your top 5 beers. It is also one of mine.
I think what's so great about it is I like Kolsch's in the summer because they're just a refreshing beer. But this one with the dry hop, with that mosaic hop, like lingering flavor on it, it's just, it's very drinkable, and it makes you want to keep drinking more of it. So cheers to that.
Yeah, it's no secret. We're hazy boys on this podcast. And what's better than a crispy boy with a little bit of that hop kick that we know and love?
So it's been so long, I don't even remember how to kick these podcasts off. So, I mean, how have things been going? You've read any good books lately, Ryan?
Hello, sir. What do you wear in inclement weather?
I will say on the topic of books, like Ryan and I recently realized we both not only like the same types of beers, but we also like some of the same types of fiction. So we've been reading some of the same books, a little bit of sci-fi with some hard science, some dystopian novels. And so we may not get into the novels today, but the topic of the episode is very sci-fi and futuristic. We are going to deep dive into generative AI today and how it impacts our podcast and the beer industry in general. So you've heard about Chat GPT, but Ryan, have you heard of Beer GPT?
I was holding in laughter when you were referring to it as can I not say that? Generative AI. When everyone knows it as Chat GPT. Come on.
Yeah. I'm using the technical term here. We're men of science. So if you've been under a rock, generative AI or Chat GPT, you can create your own content. You can take text, you can take images, you can put media in there. You can ask it questions like a search engine. There's apps that use this to create videos. And there's a whole lot of people that are worried about the future of their jobs because AI is coming for you, kind of like Skynet from the Terminator series.
In particular, the Writers Guild is worried about AI.
Yeah, I had this discussion with my wife today, Meredith, and I know the Writers Guild is usually wages, which totally understand wages have not grown how they should, but there's like a 2-page addendum on there, like banning the use of AI for like coming up with scripts. And I don't know about you, Ryan. I have a little bit of heartburn with that. It's like trying to like stick your like feet in the sand and like hope that the future doesn't come.
It's kind of ironic that like one of the most popular TV series of all time, Law and Order, is literally called a procedural crime drama. So like you could literally like it follows a very specific procedure from beginning to end every single episode. So it's like, yeah, like that's ripe for AI to just come up with new scenarios to follow this very set structure.
Today, we're going to delve a little bit into the current state of AI and see, do the writers and other people have anything to worry about right now, or is it still a little bit in the future? We'll see the capabilities here.
Can't wait.
Do you want to know, I guess, from a trivia on an AI standpoint, let's see how many jobs you can guess in the top 10 that are most at risk of being taken over by AI.
Most at risk.
Yeah.
Top 10. I feel like it'd be actually less than I think. My initial reaction was like, oh, I could get like 6 or 7, but I bet it's like probably like 4. I'm like trying to think of what my number one guess would be. I mean, like author probably has to be pretty high up there, honestly.
Yeah, I think I'll give you that one. I'll lump it in with media jobs, which could include journalism, content creators. I think writers probably fit in there into content creators. So I'll give you that one.
Are there any weird ones that you wouldn't have expected?
The weirdest one on the list that I just wouldn't have thought about, but makes sense. Financial advisors. Like it just takes the straight data and tells you what you need, where you need to put your stocks, I guess. So that one kind of made me think. And stock traders, they had that on there too. So like you think of Wall Street and you just like get rid of all the people trading.
That's basically what ETFs are. Yeah. Like, so yeah, that's like pretty much already happening.
Yeah. The other ones on there that were like more intuitive for me were, like legal assistants, like paralegals, like they said coders, like software engineers, like they can actually program AI to do coding or improve, how fast you can code. Graphic designers, accountants, customer service. Customer service makes sense because you could probably make an AI that just can like read your psychology and better than a human can. But
companies have been trying to do that for years already. Is trying to make you go through automated systems.
Yeah, it hasn't worked so far. Market research, and then the last one was teachers, which I was like, I first saw that and I was like, really? And I was like, well, I mean, I guess we use a lot of web-based content now to teach our kids how to do stuff.
Man, I guess so. But
Yeah, that one I had that one that's probably was the most shocking because I was like,
that's the one that stands out most to me. That's the only one that made me make a face. I'll say that.
yeah. So before we get too far into the AI stuff, I mean, it's been so long since we've done this podcast. We should touch on some news of what's happened in the last like couple months or so since we've done our last episode. So I'm going to rattle off what I have on my list, putting on my news outfit here, get my tie on.
You look official right now.
All right. The big news out there is that Funky Buddha and Four Corners have been sold by Constellation Brands, which notoriously had sold Ballast Point a couple years ago for a mega loss. Couldn't find the numbers on this one, but the interesting part is that Funky Buddha was sold back to the original brewers and owner that originally sold out on it. So, and it's also interesting because they had recently been on a Twitter battle about Funky Buddha not being true craft beer anymore because it was owned by Constellation, which opens a whole list of questions. And other news, Anchor Steam was sold out, Anchor Brewing was sold out and has, a couple years back and has now completely cut their distribution really everywhere outside of California for the most part. So that means no more Anchor Christmas for y'all on the holiday season. Saloon Door West in Houston has officially opened. I almost went there today. And lastly, Trill Burgers has their brick and mortar in Houston. So if you're a Bun B fan, you can get a badass burger. So that's your weekend news, Ryan.
When you lay it out like that, a lot has happened in the last 2 months in the just beer industry in general.
Some bigger than others.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, the news story about the beer company buying their brand back is like that's kind of the dream, isn't it? Like you sell out and then the valuation drops and you buy it back and you're back to where you were, but you're just like a whole lot wealthier doing it.
Yeah, I wish they disclosed the values because I got to think after Constellation backed out, I mean, it's like they're backing out of craft beer. So you got to think that they're taking a loss on all of those, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, the valuations back in the day were just like absolutely insane. Like I remember the only one that got like really speculated on the most was Ballast Point. They got bought out for like the rumor was they got bought out for $1 billion, and then they ended up selling to somebody else like
40 million or something, right?
Yeah, just a few years later for like a fraction of that. So I have to imagine it was a scenario like that. So it's like that's the dream for the owners of that company. So props to them.
And they got like they probably got a little bit of a break from like the grind, they may have been still on with the company, but they didn't have all the heat of being the business owner, making sure ends meet. You get a little bit of a vacation and you come back to what you love.
Yeah. I love it. Good for them. Like I have to feel like that's going to happen more and more. I know that happened with one other company, like Appalachian State Brewing or something. It was another situation like that where they bought their company back from whoever bought them out.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if like the days of like these big splash, buyouts are on the decline.
You'd have to think. I mean, I know like so many of these companies, like speaking to the other story you talked about, like Anchor reeling in their distribution. I feel like it's become so regional and localized that I'm surprised it took them this long to rein in their distribution. It sucks that the Christmas sale was such like a iconic classic thing. But it's not shocking at all that they like kind of focused on their home market and stopped like forcing it out everywhere else.
Did you have any other news stories that popped up on your radar, or you only been in diapers and milk stories?
I know. I know. I did see. I sent this to you. It was an advertisement that I saw that I couldn't tell if it was a joke or if it was real. And it was Miller Lite advertising little like ice cube trays of little ice cubes that were like, you fill it with beer and freeze it, and then you drop those in your beer can, and the little cubes fit in the beer can, and it's to like keep your beer cold, I guess.
Oh wait, it fits in like the wide mouth into the can.
Yeah, so that was the whole thing. It was like they were like little mini can shaped ice cubes, and they were small enough where they would fit in the mouth of a can, so that you could put it into your beer, and then when they melted, it wouldn't dilute your beer with water because they were frozen beer, and it would keep your beer cold in the summer. And I saw this and I was like, is this a joke? Like, or is this like real? I still haven't figured out if it was real or fake.
Oh, I definitely want to try it. I mean, that sounds great.
No, Drew, come on. Why wouldn't you just get a beer that you know still tastes good when it gets warm?
Oh, yes. We have proven that they exist. And Bud Light and Budweiser products are not one of them. So speaking of frozen beer, like this is not a beer news story, but like my wife and I stayed like a little weekend getaway and they had a little mini fridge and I didn't realize like what number was cold versus warm in the mini fridge. And I was like, oh, fridge isn't very cold. So I turned it the complete opposite way and basically maxed it out. And I had like some hazies in there that I came back and cracked open one. It had like frostbite on the side of it and it had little slushies in there while I was drinking it. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be garbage. And I poured it into in a glass and let some of the slushies melt. It still tasted great. I didn't really see a huge drop off, but a lot of it didn't freeze. But to get a full ice cube, I guess it's the high water content you get in those products. I don't know.
Yeah. I think the only thing I associate with like if a beer partially freezes is that it like basically is flat after it like unfreezes. But I don't think anything else really happens besides that.
Yeah, it didn't taste like it.
Let's ask a source about this.
Oh, yes.
When a beer freezes, several things can happen. Expansion, separation, altered taste and carbonation, sedimentation. All right, I'll read the sedimentation one. When beer freezes and thaws, sedimentation may occur. The solids and impurities present in the beer can settle at the bottom of the container, affecting the appearance and potentially contributing to off flavors.
Yeah, I fully expected it to be a drain pour. I do remember seeing a little bit of like hop sediment at the bottom, but it was still very drinkable. So,
yeah, there you go.
Since we hopped over to ChatGPT, how much? I guess I'll ask a question. How much have you been able to play around with these AI softwares and ChatGPTs yet?
I've done almost zero playing with it. I have talked to like coworkers and stuff about it, and like played around with it, like with them doing it, and not to like dive too far into the conspiracy theory part of the stuff I like to joke about, but I am very nervous about signing up with these websites and like giving them more information when they're explicitly telling us that they are taking as much information from us as they possibly can.
Yeah. When I signed up for it, you have to give an email address. And so you want to use a burner address. Or in my case, I just use the Beer and Ain't Easy podcast email address just because who cares? Maybe we'll get some more hits because it will be in the system. So
I was like, you know what? Like, right before this, I was like, all right, fine. So I got on the website. It was like, enter your email address. I was like, whatever. I put in my email address. Then it was like, what's your name? I put it, and it was like, what's your birthday? And I tried to skip it and was like, this is required. And I was like, what?
What's your social security number?
Red flags immediately started going up.
Yeah. There's the dark web version that you can't see as you fill it out.
Yeah.
So maybe you're still in the rookie phase, but now that we talked about like the top 10 things that could get replaced, what can you see ChatGPT taking over in the beer industry?
I want to hear of a brewery going to ChatGPT and saying like, hey, spit me out a Two Hearted Ale clone, but like tweak it just a little bit. I'm like copying that recipe and actually putting that out into market.
I wanted to ask the question is like, do you think that they would have enough smarts to be able to give you like a recipe that didn't taste like dog shit? I don't know. I mean, I've got it pulled up. We could ask for what's the best recipe.
Scraping all those Reddit home brewing recipes and parsing what's the best one.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because you use ChatGPT like a search engine, but it like writes it back without any source listed. and it writes it like it's a fact. And so it's a little scary. And I know that there's been a lot of drama with it because people are using it to write their papers in college, and colleges are having trouble being able to figure out what's real and what's not. But it's gotten a lot more advanced for sure.
Yeah, and with the way technology advances, like,
oh shit, you just mentioned the Two-Hearted Ale, and so as we were talking, I'm just like typing in, and I said, write me a Two-Hearted Ale clone recipe, and it's got all the ingredients. It's still typing, and then it has all the steps to be able to make it.
It's kind of a coincidence that I actually called out that one. I didn't mean to do this, but Bell's is actually very open with their recipe. Like, Two-Hearted Ale, it's not a secret recipe. Like, you can get it, like, no problem. And they'll, like, I think they've actually submitted it into magazines and stuff. Like, here's how we make it. And they just rest on the fact that, like, our quality control and our process is, like, so on point that it's going to turn out so good that you can't replicate this. Basically, they're basically like throwing the gauntlet down.
Oh, okay. So maybe they pulled directly from a source. I was just like, holy shit.
Could, yeah. So try it with another one. Try it with do like Pliny the Elder. See what it says. It'll probably do the same thing, honestly, but
yeah, it's got one. It's doing the same thing. The only other thing I thought would be kind of funny is can descriptions for your beers. Maybe today with this pulled up, we can do a few of those experiments to see if we can generate some good ones. But I thought that would be something that you could easily delegate to an AI, so you didn't have to pay someone to do it.
That would be a good one. There's the DALL-E portion, the graphic design part. Mm-hmm. And I have had my coworker, he was playing with it, and I did that. I said, hey, have it design a beer can label for like a hazy IPA. And it's just spit out a bunch of concepts. And I was like, these are good starting points. I'll say that. It sounds like you've played around with this significantly more than I have. Like, what other experiments have you done with this?
Okay. I'm glad you asked, right? I was looking down at my notes because I wrote down some stupid shit that I did, and I didn't save them. But the other cool thing about ChatGPT is, like, you type in a question and you can look at the answer. It pops up immediately, and then you can hit the refresh button, and it just gives you a completely different answer. And so, especially when you're having ChatGPT create something, that's the most fun that you can do on this thing. Is you say, create this, and it will just create something random. And so, obviously, like, you're a South Park fan, right? Or at least at one point in time, you saw the Osimo episode.
Yeah, at one point in my life, yes.
So for those who aren't South Park fans, Cartman dresses up like a robot called Osimo 3000, and he gets hired by the movie industry because he keeps churning out movie ideas, and all of his movie ideas are comedies, including Adam Sandler. So I legit asked ChatGPT today if it could come up with a romantic comedy description for an Adam Sandler movie. And I didn't realize when I typed it in that I still had the filter for like beer themed questions, because sometimes it will compartmentalize your questions based on theme. And so it actually made a romantic comedy description, beer related, with Adam Sandler in it. So I'll read this one out.
So wait, hold on. Before you read the answer, I just have to say that AI takes what you were going to ask and asks the question better than you thought to ask it. That's where we're already at with AI.
It was learning from my questions. Yes.
Go ahead.
And this is like this made me laugh so much when I first read it, because it just reminded me of the South Park episode. In Love on Tap, Adam Sandler stars as Ben, a charismatic yet lovable brewery owner with a knack for crafting unique beers. When his brewery faces a financial crisis, he reluctantly agrees to partner with a sophisticated, no-nonsense businesswoman played by Jennifer Aniston to save his beloved establishment. You'd go see that movie, right?
I'd watch it for sure.
It goes on, but I don't want to read, like, you know, it's
the nuance of the story.
Yeah, the nuance of the story. Oh no, I got to read the end part. So, can their passion for beer bring them together in both business and romance? Find out in this heartwarming romantic comedy that proves love and beer are a perfect blend. This is like great. The question I had podcast related, and this may help us out. So Ryan, get your pencil, pen ready to write these down because we may need them. Oh shit. Load failed.
While you're looking at that, I got to say this beer is delicious. I am like drinking it way faster than I expected or wanted to. It's like very red and like thick looking.
It almost looks like a Bloody Mary.
I'll say my beer descriptors are lacking. I'm out of practice here, but it's got like an orange tint to it. It's like a red orange, but it is delicious. It's so refreshing, especially when it's like almost 90 degrees and it's like 10:30 at night. It's great. I'm into it.
Nice. All right, I finally got the damn thing to work. So I was thinking, we're always looking for podcast ideas, and so I just searched, what are the top 10 best beer podcast episode ideas for the most downloads? So write these down, Ryan.
Beer hot takes.
Yeah. We may find that none of our topics are on here. Okay. Craft Beer 101, Beginner's Guide to Tasting and Appreciating Beer. Boring.
Boo.
Brewery Spotlight, uncovering the secrets of a popular brewery. Nah, everyone does that.
Yeah.
Number 3, beer and food pairing, elevating your culinary experience. Okay. We've kind of done that, just not very sophisticated. I think Adam and I did one where we had like microwave Thanksgiving dinner one year.
I was going to say, that was about what I was about to say. You guys paired Thanksgiving courses with beer. Yeah.
Crafting your own homebrew, tips and tricks for the perfect batch. The science of brewing, from hops to fermentation. That's more of your zone right there, getting into the science of it. We do that a lot.
That sounds dry even to me.
Yeah, I know. Beer and travel, exploring the world's best beer destinations. We've kind of done that.
I can get into that one. Yeah.
The art of beer label design. Behind every great beer lies a story.
So that's a decent one, but that'd be way too easy to get way too into the weeds.
Yeah. Beer history, unraveling the origins and evolution of your favorite brews. I could get into
already
that.
Exists. Yeah. All right.
Beer and pop culture, how beer has shaped movies, music, and more. I mean, Beer Fest.
I was going to say, we did an episode talking about the impact of one particular movie about beer.
And number 10, beer trends, what's hot in the craft beer scene. Nothing that blew my mind there. I don't know.
No. I'll say the trends thing is like an addendum to an episode. That's like something you talk about like in the last like 5 minutes. Can you really make a whole episode about beer trends?
Yeah, I won't bore the listeners because earlier I like also asked, give me the outline for the perfect beer podcast. And it had 7 fucking segments. It was like a segment for beer news, a segment for a brewery feature, a segment for homebrew tips. And I was like, my God, this is like everything in one episode. This is insane. It's like a 2-hour episode.
I have no comment. We probably jump around to 7 different topics in an episode. Really short.
Yeah, I guess if we put it in outline form, we'd probably tear it up too.
Yeah, it would probably be like, no wonder nobody fucking listens to us.
Ooh, I just hit refresh just to see if there was any other one that was like kind of interesting. And I just saw another one, beer and music, the perfect pairing. Explore the connection between beer and music.
Belching Beaver has a collaboration beer with
Deftones.
Deftones, yeah.
So far I'm not, blown away here, other than the Adam Sandler movie idea. But I will say, like with the movie ideas, if you're getting beat out by Chat GPT, I don't know. Maybe it's okay if AI takes over. Like if you can't come up with something better than that, come on, man.
I watch Hot Ones on YouTube, and John Mulvaney was on the most recent episode, and he was talking about the issue of AI talking to taking over writers' jobs. And he said he's experimented with it and saw some of the jokes they put out, and they're like, none of it's great, but some of it's good. He's like, it could be a like 10th joke at an award show monologue level.
I think right now what I've found is it's the right level of cheesiness for the Beer and Easy podcast. So
That's true.
It may be able to outright us. I had an idea for a bit here. I'm going to call it the man versus machine bit, where I think we could ask each other questions, have the other person answer it, but also ask Chat GPT and then decide who answered it better. Are you ready for this, Ryan?
I love this idea. Let's go.
All right. The first question I have is, can you describe the perfect beer?
The perfect beer.
The perfect beer.
It's so hard not just to get ridiculously gimmicky with this.
I assure you that ChatGPT will.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure ChatGPT will say something like, "Oh, the perfect beer is something that's well balanced and has like a nice, strong malt body with a pleasant hop bitterness that offsets the sweetness of the malt, and finishes clean and doesn't have a lingering aftertaste and does not contain off flavors."
I'm waiting for your answer first.
Oh, sorry, I got caught up in my answer, making fun of ChatGPT.
Oh, was that your answer? Okay.
No, my answer is it's actually not far from that. Is I like something with some substance that finishes clean, that has prominent flavors of both malt and hops, which is why, stuff like Hipster Sauce and Art Car are like my favorite beers, is because it is very hop forward, but also has, it's not just straight hops. It has the malt backbone. So I'm exaggerating my answer, but that's pretty much what my answer is.
Okay.
So what does ChatGPT say?
ChatGPT says the perfect beer is a meticulously crafted balance of flavors with a harmonious blend of malts, hops, and yeast, resulting in a refreshing and satisfying beverage that leaves a lasting impression on the palate. So this is a tough one for me because ChatGPT was a little more eloquent than you. You were kind of rambling on about a couple beers that met your criteria there. But it also reads like a beer advocate review, and so for that, I have to do 2 thumbs down to ChatGPT on that one.
I gave a mocking answer, and I feel like it was very close to the one you just read.
Yes, yes. It's probably because they got it directly from Beer Advocate.
All right, I just snorted.
Oh, this is fun. I already like this segment.
This isn't as creative as yours is, but I said, what is the name of a beer that sounds dirty but actually isn't?
You must have like a beer in mind.
I didn't. I was just thinking of way more in the gutter than you were with your highfalutin question.
I was really tapping into the creative mind of ChatGPT. Like, is it bad that like my mind went blank and I can't even think of the name of one beer?
Yeah, I already read the answer. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have thought of, because my immediate thought when I was typing it in was like, oh, some sort of dick joke.
I'm going to go with a beer called That's What She Said.
All right.
And it's for celebrating women business owners or something like that.
Hey, there we go. That might save you that part of it right there. So the Chat GPT answer was, one beer name that might sound dirty but actually isn't is Hoppy Ending. It plays on the phrase happy ending, which has a risque connotation. But in this case, it refers to the satisfaction of enjoying a beer with hoppy flavor profile. Remember, it's always important to ensure that beer names are appropriate and aligned with responsible marketing practices. So you know what? I felt like That's What She Said was not a great answer, but then when you aligned it with a movement, and like say it's a Pink Boot Society beer.
Yes.
There you go. I'm giving it to you, Drew. Woo! Man wins versus machine.
2-0. Sometimes when I get the responses back from ChatGPT, I just want to go, nerd. And then it takes my job. Do you think you'd be able to come up with a beer description for a Ninja Turtles themed beer? Or is that too much creativity to come up with something?
As a kid, I was very, very into Ninja Turtles, but I forgot all the references to give it a fair shake. Otherwise, I mean, Cowabunga and Turtle Power, and I don't know. I could give a couple buzzwords, but that's about it.
All right, that's your final answer. So I'm gonna get a beer description for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle IPA. Cowabunga, introducing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle IPA, a bodacious brew bursting with citrusy hop flavors, a radical blend of tropical fruits, and a shell-shocking hoppy punch that will have your taste buds doing some serious ninja moves. So cringy.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that they did all those surfer terms and did they use Cowabunga? I don't remember hearing Cowabunga.
They started with Cowabunga.
Oh, that's it. Okay,
but they ended with ninja moves, which is like, I don't know. I don't think the writer's got anything to worry about right now.
Yeah, I think they're good.
All right. So even though you didn't answer, I still don't want to give them a point for that.
Yeah. I know response is better than the actual response.
The actual response, yes. No can description. You just put a title and you sell the beer with a picture. That's all you need. People would be like, "Oh my god, it's the Ninja Turtles! Buy that IPA."
The can art suckers will go for it anyway.
Hell yeah!
I typed in what is the best hop for a beer, and it gave a very cop-out answer. It says that's very it depends on specific characteristics and the flavor profile desired. And there's numerous hop varieties available. Here's some popular ones, and listed off
like 10. Yeah,
all the most popular ones. It finishes it off with, it's important to note that the best hop can vary depending on personal preferences, beer style, and the desired flavor and aroma characteristics. Brewers often experiment with various hop combinations to create unique and appealing flavors in their beers. I feel like ChatGPT is giving me the runaround here. I'm upset.
Yeah, I feel like when you start getting it into like using it like a search engine, it's less interesting than the creative aspects of it.
So you're telling me to come up with better questions?
No, I'm just.
You're victim blaming here. I stumped ChatGPT for a minute. I said, "Does beer glass style make a difference?" And it sat blinking for like 10 seconds before it started typing a response. I feel like that's a win.
Yes. Well, we just searched the audio files of the Beering and Easy podcast, and we learned that, yes, beer glassware does make a difference. The most fun I had with ChatGPT, I mean, you notice you've been listening to our podcast. I'm a fan of rap. Ryan's not a huge rap guy. Me and Adam had the rap thing going, so we got a theme on the podcast. I really thought the Beering and Easy podcast needed a rap, and so I asked ChatGPT to come up with some rap lyrics, which, from what you've heard on the podcast, it's kind of in line with the level of the cheese factor, I would say, of the lyrics. But to really test it out, we needed to drop that rap on a beat. So Ryan, what I've done, I've rapped the ChatGPT. But since you have the lyrics in front of you, if like most raps, if you want to do those emphasis words or, give a big willy like, like a DMX bark, like whatever you feel like you need to do during this rap.
I'm so excited. Yeah. I read what you put in the OneNote, but I didn't realize you actually recorded a mixtape of it.
Yes. I knew I couldn't do it like on the spot without just like losing my shit. So I had to like pre-record it and then we could listen to it live. It is so bad. Oh my God. Meredith is like, this may be the most embarrassing thing you've ever done.
I'm so excited.
Are you ready? Are the listeners ready for this?
Okay, let's go.
We're going to see if I can patch us in here. So can you hear that? Okay, good. Yes. Just get into the beat first. Then I'll break in.
This sounds like R&B.
Listen up, y'all, to a podcast so fly. Beering ain't easy, where the brews never lie. Host Ryan and Drew know their stuff. Beer life, dad life, they can't get enough. With each episode, you'll learn something new. Craft beer trends to fatherhood views. Yeah. Guess they bring, they're always top notch. Brewers, dads, industry, hot shots. They share their stories, their passion for suds. Beering ain't easy, so show them some love. The show, no need to react. Just let the beer and the dad jokes flow. Beering ain't easy, the best pod to know. Word.
Oh my God. I was fully expecting to try to be hype man more often. Then after that first one, I just like couldn't. I was like, wait, what is happening right now?
You just were completely entranced by the lyrics. Just admit it.
That's it. So I feel like you should have sped that up by like 50%.
That would make it go faster.
Yeah.
No, man, you need the full. Well, so I was having trouble finding a good beat on GarageBand, and that was the best one that they had, but it was a little slower, so I needed to get the pace right. You don't understand rap, Brian. You can't just go and like Busta Rhymes in it.
You got the pace right for the beat.
I just need a faster beat.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So funny story. Like Ryan was taking a long time to get on the podcast tonight because he was putting his kids down to bed. And I found like a video app that said you could make music videos and that actually some famous artists have made their music videos from it. So I signed up for a 7-day trial and I created one for that rap. I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And I just like typed in, cheesy rap podcasts, beer podcasts, and just see what the picture came up with. And it looked like a dude that just looked like a scrub doing rap. And I was like, this is perfect. But I thought the guy was going to like mouth the rap. But I like generated this video. It took like 20 minutes to generate. And then all it was like a scrubby looking white guy, but his mouth didn't move. He just like kind of morphed into different versions of different guys while the music was playing. I was like, what the hell am I watching? I need to be on drugs for this.
I'm sure that's not unsettling at all.
Yeah. The video is not ready for prime time yet. There's some creepy shit out there. Have you seen the one that was like floating around the internet where someone was like created a beer advertisement video where like the people's like faces don't look right? They like all start morphing and then someone looks like they're on fire. It was like basically show a big party where that's a beer ad. Have you seen that one?
I have not.
Oh my God. We're going to have to put that one in the links for all the listeners to go find. It's disturbing to say the least. So on that note, while I'm getting record deals to go triple platinum on that, I don't know what else we can say, Ryan. I think we may just need to close out today. My takeaway is that, maybe these jobs are at risk in the future, but just have a couple beers tonight because know that your job is safe tomorrow.
Maybe it's safe tomorrow. Maybe it's not. It's been like 2 months and I've been cooping up these, pun very much intended, I've been cooping up these thoughts about these birds that have been watching us everywhere. So I just have a little monologue that I want to close this out with today. Are you ready, Drew?
We need to have you create your outro from ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's what I just did.
Yes. Yes. I'm so excited now.
It's so bad. Yeah. If you thought my outros were cheesy and stupid, just wait till you hear this one.
Oh my God.
This wraps up another intriguing episode of Beering and Easy, where we've explored the unexpected intersection of surveillance and suds in the craft beer industry. Who would have thought that our feathered friends could have such a beady eye on our brews? While we've delved into the secretive world of surveillance birds infiltrating the beer scene, fear not, fellow beer enthusiasts. As long as our IPAs remain hoppy and our stouts stay robust, we'll rise above these avian agents and continue to enjoy our beloved craft beers. So next time you're sipping on a tasty brew, remember to keep a watchful eye out for any suspicious observant sparrows or unusually well-informed pigeons. And if you spot one of these surveillance bird perched nearby, be sure to give them a nod of appreciation for their commitment to quality control, even if it's a bit on the nosy side. As we sign off, let's raise our glasses to the resilience of the craft beer industry, where the pursuit of flavor and creativity triumphs over even the most furtive feathered foes. Stay vigilant, my beer-loving friends, and let's continue to make our pints soar high above the watchful gaze of those surveillance birds. Until next time, keep brewing, keep tasting, and keep your beer escapades just a little bit more covert. Cheers, and may your beers always be free from prying beaks.
Cheers to that.
Good God, that was horrible.
That was the longest thing you've ever put together. That's great.
Yeah, the longest thing I've ever put together, because I put that together.
Yes. So this is what we have to look forward to when you go on strike.
Don't worry, Writers Guild, you're good for now. I can understand why you want to be ready in a few years, but you're okay.
This has been a Beering Ain't Easy production out of Houston, Texas. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook or at our website at crossthestreamsmedia.com, where you can find our podcast and all the other great sister podcasts on our network.
This has been a Cross the Streams Media Podcast.
Listen to this track, bitch.
Listen up, y'all, to a podcast so fly. Beering ain't easy, where the brews never lie. Hosts Ryan and Drew know their stuff. Beer life, dad life, they can't get enough. With each episode, you'll learn something new. Craft beer trends to fatherhood views. The guests they bring, they're always top notch. Brewers, dads, industry, hot shots. They share their stories, their passion for suds. Beering ain't easy, so show them some love. Grab a cold one, sit back and relax. Tune into the show, no need to react. Just let the beer and the dad jokes flow. Beering ain't easy, the best pod to know. Word.